Dear friends, welcome to our new video. If you are not subscribed the channel, please hit subscribe button and activate the bell button. This video will talk about the best ways to boost your imagination. Getting your creative juices flowing again can be as simple as following the steps in this article. Gaining a competitive edge in the marketplace requires enhancing one's capacity for creativity and finding ways to succeed creatively. The ability to be creative is something that we all possess, in some form or another. Creating something new or reinventing something that already exists in order to make it more useful or interesting is what this involves. There are some people whose creative abilities are more readily apparent due to their proximity to the surface. Many people believe that creativity comes naturally to them. Others must spend more time and effort cultivating their ability to express their creativity. We must remember that we are all capable of being imaginative. Just take the necessary steps to free yourself of it. Consider attempting the following. 1. Alter your point of view. Think outside the box is a popular phrase. The best thing you can do is try to see things from a different perspective. 2. Consider things from a different angle. Take into account all of the variables that are involved in your issue. 3. Break the problem down into smaller components and rearrange them. Consider the ramifications of a new idea taking its place. This aspect is critical for improving creativity because it aids in removing mental blockages that could otherwise limit your ability to think creatively. 4. Disconnect from where you are right now mentally. Consider how a different person would respond in the same circumstances. Consider how different situations would develop if you addressed the same problem in different ways. It's also possible to apply a solution in various settings and then adapt it to the current one. 5. Allow yourself to be completely free in terms of creativity. Use your creativity. Because you see things from a different perspective after a modification, it can stimulate creative thinking. Consider magnifying or minimizing something as an alternative to exaggerating or thinking of the extremes. Considering the differences between the two scenarios and coming up with hypotheses could be fruitful. This is the ultimate test of one's cognitive abilities. 6. A place where you feel at ease. It's critical that the surrounding circumstances are ideal. Your workspace should be free of distractions so you can focus on a task at hand without being distracted. Everyone around you should be treated with respect. When surrounded by people who share your interests, you're more likely to succeed. Simply put, spending time with creative people will help you develop your own creativity. The majority of the time, people are more creative when surrounded by others who share their hobbies or interests. It was also discovered that spending time with creative people helps you become more creative. There's no such thing as free time. 7. Creativity takes time to develop. Being hurried doesn't help with the flow of creative ideas at all. When you try to force something, your mind goes into a slight state of disarray. According to research, results generated while in this mental state are generally subpar. If you're pressed for time, keep a handy list of things to do, like this one. Go over all of the tasks one by one and put them to use. Wait a while before making any snap decisions. 8. Enlist the aid of someone who can help you communicate your thoughts to others. A new way of looking at the problem may be beneficial. Even better, a wide range of perspectives. Asking questions is something you should never be afraid to do. When it comes to fostering creativity, having a diverse group of people is extremely beneficial. Make an effort to organize a meeting for the purpose of coming up with ideas. When new ideas just pop into your head, it aids in the creation of even more. Brainstorming results can be used as building blocks for new ideas. For brainstorming to be effective, keep in mind these 4 guidelines. Criticisms are not allowed. Criticism is a roadblock to creative thinking. Wait until the meeting is over before bringing this up again. We encourage you to combine or modify your ideas. When it comes to brainstorming, more is better when it comes to quantity over quality. We encourage you to come up with bizarre or outlandish ideas. These are just a few suggestions to get your mind working. They can be customized to meet the needs of the user. You're in charge of a significant portion of the situation. What level of creativity do you possess? How honest would you say you are? Your creativity will increase if you remove the restrictions in your mind. Mind Power Games is the working title. Do you want to keep your brain in shape? Here are some tips to help. Classic brain teasers are a great way to get your mind in shape. Games of the mind, brain power, brain power, puzzles for lateral thinking. Do you want a fun way to improve your cognitive abilities? Use some old-fashioned brain teasers to help you sharpen your mental skills and get out of ruts. Good games for the mind help you become accustomed to approaching problems creatively rather than logically. You can test your lateral thinking skills right now by playing out 9 dots 3 by 3. You must draw 4 straight lines from one end of each triangle to the other without removing your pen or pencil from the paper. When you solve this puzzle, you'll understand the meaning of the phrase thinking outside the box. Group mind-blowing exercises. Long car trips are ideal for some group mind games. Consider the scenario where someone looks out the window and selects something at random from the environment. A new way to make money is then discussed by everyone in the car. As a result, street signs are used as advertising spaces, trees are personalized for sale, and delivery trucks serve as mobile grocery stores. Change of perspective can be used as a game to help solve problems. See who can come up with the most original new perspective on any topic. Is it possible to live in a world without having to work? How would a virus, if it had consciousness, describe its sense of morality? Concept combination is a specific technique that can be used in a group creative game. See who can come up with the most creative combination of concepts or items by combining them in novel ways. A scenario, real or imagined, with a selection of things you must use to accomplish something can be used in some lateral thinking puzzles. Consider a ping-pong ball and a cement set iron pipe. The 2-foot-long pipe resembles the ball in diameter, but it's made of steel. Just how many different ways can you get the ball out of the pipe with only a box of Frosted Flakes and a shirt in your possession? As an alternative, you could do this in the real world to determine whether or not a proposed solution actually works. Riddles are nothing more than mental exercises, such as crosswords or logic puzzles. To solve a puzzle, you stray from your normal course of thought. Even if you don't take it seriously, keeping your brain in shape doesn't have to be. Who wants to work? All of the success principles and tactics you've learned can work, but who wants to put in the effort? You'll recall how effortless things were when you were filled with anticipation and excitement, and that's magic in action. Find out more. When pragmatism triumphs over the spiritual, I feel let down. Getting in touch with Source unleashes a greater power. When combined with determination and hard work, I believe that the marketing principles and learned strategies will continue to work effectively for success. My side of the story is entirely different. Over the course of my career, I've held positions in both the corporate and service sectors. One of the most difficult challenges I've ever faced was letting go of the learned and hard-worked principles in order to engage in a relationship with the divine. So why not just ignore it? What's the point of going back to the old ways? I couldn't leave because of whatever you want to call it, the mystical or divine or even God, which wouldn't let me leave. Unfortunately, despite my best efforts, I was unable to obtain the results I was hoping for. The process of change had already begun, and I had decided to embrace it. You can't pretend to be someone you're not. As I shifted my focus from working hard to using my gifts, passion, and purpose, amazing things started to happen. It didn't matter how hard I worked at marketing and building my business, none of my prospects had turned into clients or customers. The more I connected with the source and showed faith, the more clients came to me. Prospective clients who were interested in the gifts and connections I could provide. Because of this, I've developed a stronger connection with the mystical, metaphysical, and spiritual, and I've begun to practice a new way of being in the world. It's a lot more natural, organic, and peaceful, and it's also a lot simpler. So long as you stay out of my way, it'll be no problem at all. In the past, I felt a great deal of anxiety about things that didn't come to fruition. When I was on the verge of reverting to an old pattern, headaches and increased mental, physical, and spiritual resistance would appear. Within 24 to 48 hours, I'd put an end to my worries, unwilling to give up on the dream and surrender to it. Once again, abundance revealed itself when I put my faith in it. This pattern, with its ups and downs, is part of my training. To improve my spiritual connection with God. To put your faith in a reliable source. To put my faith in my true purpose, calling, and passion. Be a better guide and teacher to others who want to have the same relationship with the source of creation as I do. Everywhere you look, you'll find evidence of magic. Being realistic can be effective, but who really wants to work anyway? The power of storytelling. You can achieve your wildest dreams if you use the key storytelling strategy in conjunction with the correct mindset. We all know that the key to a successful presentation is selling a product to the end-line consumer and/or sponsoring a new person every day as we build our businesses. This issue, I'll discuss the differences between selling and building customer loyalty during the selling process. Every type of animal you come across in the sales process is an opponent you have to overcome during the negotiation process. As a rule of thumb, direct salespeople have 45 minutes to present a product or business concept and persuade a potential customer that they should buy from you or your company. When you're presenting your company, it's easy to get overly factual and lose your prospect's attention. People who are listening for the first time will be more engaged if you tell a story about the success of someone who is using the product or have someone give a live testimonial about how much they enjoyed being a distributor. For the majority of us, the first time we encountered the concept of a live audience was in kindergarten, when we played show and tell. Due to the fact that you were simply relating a story, everyone was engaged in what you had to say. Making an impression is all about conveying your company's unique value proposition in a compelling way. Everyone can identify with a grandparent who describes their grandchild as the most beautiful and precious thing in the world. When you meet her, you'll feel as if her grandchild is a priceless possession to have as a family member. You must use the same simplicity in your presentation in order to achieve the same result, ownership of the product you are selling. Rather than remembering all the facts, people will remember stories you tell them. Because of the success stories you shared, they should want to get involved in your company or buy your product. People want to be a part of a successful group. When you tell a story, you keep your audience interested in both you and your presentation. Every time I'm in doubt about something in a presentation, I always tell a story to get the audience's attention back on me. The first story I heard about direct sales was about a young lady with a lifestyle I wished I could have. That's why, whenever I present, I always tell many stories. I decided to get involved in the business because of the personal story of her way of life. All I did was tell my story and the story of the company over and over again while growing that business into a massive one. You can realize your wildest dreams if you use the key storytelling strategy in conjunction with the correct mindset. Find out why you're doing this and take off. Could you tell after looking at 15 things on a table what they were? With a simple trick, you can. What's the biggest issue with memory tricks? Of course, remembering to put them to good use is essential. Many memory techniques are effective, but unless you make using them a habit, you'll forget about them when you need them the most. Utilize the techniques you learn until they become second nature. Here are a few to get you started. With the help of a story list. As a kid, I went to a party. There was a game in which players had to examine a table adorned with 15 different objects. Then we were taken to another room and given paper and pencils, which took only a few minutes for each child. We were forced to jot down as many details as we could recall. I could only recall 7 or 8 of the items, but one youngster took home the prize after correctly recalling them all. After some time, I found out why he had won. He learned a simple trick from his father that none of the other kids had. The strategy is to weave a narrative out of the various elements. Say you want to remember the following list of things. There's a fork. There's soap. There's honey. Create a vivid story in your head, and as you go, add the following items to it. You reach for the soap at the sink. You wash your hands in the milk-filled soap dish. After that, you'll use a fork to comb honey through your hair, then grab a bouquet of flowers and smile in the mirror. Speak each item out loud while mentally rewatching your movie 5 times, and you'll remember them all the next day, too. Other techniques for improving memory. Remind yourself to keep it in mind. When you learn someone's name, for instance, tell yourself remember that. As a result, your subconscious will give this information a higher priority. Know why and how you want to remember something. Ask yourself why a person is important to you now and in the future, imagine where you'll run into them next, and connect that to anything you notice about them to help you recall their name later on. Knowing how important it is to remember and making associations with a person, such as where you expect to see them next, aid in encoding the information in your brain. Occasionally, people seem to lose track of where they put their car keys. At the very least, you've tried to mentally retrace your steps. That's a possibility, but it's far preferable to avoid forgetting in the first place. To help you remember to do it, visualize yourself walking in and placing the keys on the chair as you do it. You won't forget where they are if you don't forget where you put them. There is a plethora of memory tricks to be found. Don't just read about these things if you want them to be of any use to you. Start today by making a memory technique or two a habit. If you liked the video, press like and have a look on the references in the description box.